LaTosha Johnson says that she's devastated by this, and no parent should have to bury their child. But even in this dark moment, she wants to make sure that King's light doesn't fade. She wants everyone to hear his name, knows exactly who he was and what he meant to those who loved him.
Thank you for tuning in once again to another episode of the Goodrich Chronicles. I am your host, Anthony Goodrich, and today I just want you to imagine something that doesn't happen that often, but imagine if you had a child that was learning to swim and you wanted to take him to have professional swimming lessons. Well, there's a place called Swim RVA out of the area of Richmond, Virginia. 9-year-old King is his name. His mom took him to go have some swimming lessons to improve his swimming skills. She drops him off, only to get a phone call a short time later saying that there was an accident. Of course, she's confused. Why are they calling her if there's an accident? But there's an accident involving her son. Turns out he drowned at a professional swimming teaching facility. And not only did he drown, it almost seems as if no one really was paying attention to this young man, which is tragically sad. I can't imagine what this mother and her family is going through right now. To have her son be taken away from her at such a young age and wanting to have swim lessons. I mean, every child should be afforded that and having a responsible adult looking after him. What do you do in a situation like this? When you want to take your kids to have swim lessons, do you just drop them off? Or do you stay there with them the whole time and you watch and make sure that they're good? You know what I'm saying? There's just so many questions that need to be answered in this situation that is just completely tragic and completely unavoidable. It just seems like someone just needs to be doing their job, being on top of what they're supposed to be doing. Looking out for these kids that are 100% vulnerable in this situation. My heart goes out to the family. You have my condolences. It's absolutely tragic, and I can't even imagine what they're feeling, how they're going to deal with this. And through all the mist and everything that's going on, the mother still is putting out positive messages so that this doesn't happen again to another parent. Check out the video.
From the mother of King Overton, the 9-year-old who died Monday after being pulled from the pool at the Swim RVA camp in Henrico.
His family and everyone who knew him heartbroken over this loss. Charisse Hoffman is live at Swim RVA with his mother's story and how she wants King to be remembered. Charisse.
LaTosha Johnson says that she's devastated by this, and no parent should have to bury their child. But even in this dark moment, she wants to make sure that King's light doesn't fade. She wants everyone to hear his name, knows exactly who he was and what he meant to those who loved him.
I'm devastated. I'm numb. I'm starting to get mad.
King Overton was his family's entire world, especially to his mom, LaTosha Johnson. She says he was funny, full of life, and never failed to put a smile on the faces of everyone around him.
He is the smallest person with like the biggest personality. And he loved to joke. He was great.
Her world changed forever after getting the call from police that King was involved in an accident. She dropped him off at swim camp, never thinking that he wouldn't come home.
Picked up the Cheetos, so when he gets home from school, the Cheetos are still sitting on the counter. Just imagine dropping your baby off and not being able to pick him up.
But Johnson says she's determined to keep King's memory alive, and the community's stepping up to help. King loved cars and bikes, so this weekend they're honoring him with a memorial ride. King's father got him a mini bike 2 years ago, and at first, Johnson wasn't sure he was ready, but King kept asking. She finally said yes, and he rode that bike for the very first time, just days before he died.
He touched his bike and said, "I'm serious, Mom. I'm really going to start learning how to ride my bike." That was on Monday morning. Walking out my door.
Johnson says her goal is to make sure that something like this never happens to someone else's child. Now, she's sharing a message to other parents.
Love your babies. Love your babies. Love your babies. And I don't want this to ever have to happen to any other parent, because this is a pain that's unbearable.
Absolutely tragic all the way around. And I hope like hell that the mothers sue the shit out of that facility. I know that's not going to bring her boy back. I understand that. But maybe, just maybe, it'll be a deterrent for next time. Hopefully, it won't happen again. Now, this little boy had his whole life ahead of him. And as you heard, he was excited about his motorcycle, his mini bike. Just learning to ride it. And just like that, life was snatched from him. Imagine what that little boy was going through at the time of his drowning. Not knowing how to swim, what was happening to him. I know just from choking off a glass of water, I'm like a little, wow, I get all beside myself just choking. You know what I mean? Could you imagine inhaling some water and you cannot get out? No, I can't imagine. And I'm so sorry that this happened to this little boy. Somebody should have been there. And I know both the parents are kicking their own tails, thinking they've done everything that they could do to protect this little boy, but they put him in someone else's hands who was not as responsible. And that's just sad. I hope these people lose their job. I hope the place actually gets shut down. That's what I would hope. But that's neither here or there. This is something valuable that we all need to be aware of. That if you're taking your kids swimming for swimming lessons, it might be a good idea to just stay there with him or her rather than dropping her off. Because you don't know these people. You just assume that because they have credentials and they're a facility and that they're open to the public, that they have their license in order, that they all know how to actually save a life if need be, you know? So this, you really have to be more vigilant when you're taking care of your shorties. Don't just assume that because another adult has a professional setting that they're qualified, willing and able to take care of your child, because you only get one chance to raise that child. And for someone else to take that from you sometimes is avoidable. This is one of those times, in my opinion. I'm not faulting the mother for leaving her son there by any means. People do that every day, all the time. But I do think it's something to think about. The next time that situation comes up, do you just drop him off? Do you just leave him by himself? If he's being dropped off with a sibling, an older sibling, maybe it's okay. But by himself, with other people that you don't know, I think that you may want to reconsider just leaving him alone and be there with him, however long that class session is. Okay, well, I can keep going on and on about this, but when it comes to the kids, I'm steadfast on making sure that we look out for them. All right? Thank you for tuning in. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend some time with me. And for that, I will always be grateful. So in the meantime and in between time, until the next time, Anthony Goodrich is signing off.